think, of course, as a UN organization, UNICEF mostly traditionally worked with the governments in advancing children's rights at the national level. But I think it's been like for the last 20 years almost, while the balance of power has changed in the world, it's become more and more obvious that the private sector and the different stakeholders are critical in really pushing the agenda forward. And this is therefore, for the last 10 years, there's been engagement with the private sector more in terms of for the respect and support of child rights rather than just funding activities in communities. And then finally, 3 years ago, this unit was founded in Geneva, where we focus on working with the private sector, with investors, with academia, with CSR consultancies to promote the respect for child rights within the private sector. Well, investors can do a lot as key stakeholders to business, and we are actually working with the UNPRI and other, for instance, some of the sustainable investor groupings like the Dutch VBDO to provide input in the broader framework of human rights on specifically children's rights, but some of the human rights violations obviously happen to children as well, but it's just that the severity of these activities is much stronger. So we want to emphasize the fact that children should be considered as a vulnerable group in very sort of strict means and in a special way. And I think from the engagement with the investor, both groupings and individual investors, we see their influence on business behavior as drastic. So we really look forward to working with these stakeholders. Well, that first of all, I think we all appreciate that looking at social factors within the broader ESG framework is very challenging, and even though that the information is qualitative, I think the asset owners, they are critical in pushing the agenda for human rights forward. The role in this area is absolutely essential, and when we talk about sustainable investment, I think children should be in the core of that. So more research is needed, more commitment is needed, and there's been some research done actually in the beginning of the year looking at asset owners and their investment policies and what percentage of them, for instance, consider child rights in that domain, and it is minuscule beyond the child labor aspect. So go and review your investment policies.